So this is some extra footage I did for the previous video. This past one with the RC asphalt late model from 1RC. So we're going to show it to you on this video. So stay tuned. Alright, battery's charged. Let's go ahead and start this. We changed the right rear spring the last time I filmed, so let's go ahead and try it.
Best lap, David, 3.01. New leader, David. David, 5.46. David, 4.33. David, 3.37. David, 3.74. David, 4.75. David, 3.04. David, 3.41. David, 3.07. David, 4.01. David, 3.41. David, 3.77. David, 3.01. David, 3.69. David, 3.06. David, 3.87. 1 minute of racing. First David. David, 3.01. David, 3.01. David, 8.61. David, 4.58. David, 3.01. David, 3.18. David, 3.82. David, 3.67. David, 3.87. David, 4.00.
See, we're loose on the mid corner still, so I think I gotta increase the right rear stiffness.
David, 3.95. David, 3.07. David, 3.29. 2 minutes of racing. First David. David, 3.11. David, 3.34. David, 3.01. David, 3.56. David, 3.07.
I think I also have to increase the left rear.
David,
We're gonna do,
David, 3.01.
I don't know why I did that.
David, 3.42. David, 4.71. David, 4.32.
Oh,
David, 4.30. David, 3.46. David, 5.17. David, 3.84. David, 6.45. 3 minutes of racing. First David. David, 3.01. David, 3.02. David, 3.01. David, 3.72. David, 3.25. David, 6.58. David, 3.08. David, 3.02. David, 4.79. David, 3.27. David, 3.19. David, 3.01. David, 3.01. David, 3.18. David, 3.40. David, 3.25. David, 4.12.
yeah, I gotta increase that. I gotta increase that right rear
David,
again.
3.24. David, 3.25. David, 3.14. David, David, 4.59. David, 3.01. David, 3.46. David, 3.01. David, 3.35. David, 3.25. David, 3.01. David, 3.02. David, 3.01. David, 3.79. David, 3.65. David, 3.01. David, 3.95. David, 3.67.
I think it's done. I didn't hear the end of it. So I'm going and it's not lapping me. So I think we're alright, so we did worse. But I still think we need to increase that left right rear. I think we still need to increase the right rear spring, so I'm gonna do that and we'll try it again. Let's do that. Let's make it stiffer. Oh hell. Let's see what that does. Alright, let's see how it goes. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
New best lap. David, 3.73. New leader David. New best lap. David, 3.51. New best lap. David, 3.01. David, 3.04. David, 3.05. David, 5.82. David, 3.02. David, 3.26. David, 3.02. David, 3.42. David, 3.01. David, 3.32. David, 3.18. David, 3.16. David, 3.22. David, 3.65. David, 3.59. 1 minute of racing. First David. David, 3.29. David, 3.24. David, 3.47.
I think it wants to try to stop
David, 3.43. David, 3.45.
with the looseness.
David, 3.01. David, 4.08. David, 7.59. David, 3.86. David, 3.50. David, 3.01. David, 3.01. David, 3.01. David, 3.04. David, 3.37. 2 minutes of racing. First David. David, 6.38. David, 3.01.
I think we still have to increase the right rear
David,
because
3.16.
it's kind of loose mid-corner.
David, 3.51. David, 3.73. David, 3.22. David, 3.66. David, 4.25. David, 3.81. David, 3.13. David, 3.36. 3.01. David, 3.01. David, 3.22. David, 3.02. David, 3.01. David, 3.02. David, 3.01. David, 3.01. David, 3.01. David, 3.01. David, 3.01. David, 6.22. David, 3.26. David, 3.25. David, 3.02. David, 3.01. 4 minutes of racing. First David. David, 3.47. David, 4.15. David, 3.16.
See that? Still wants to.
3.42. David, 3.27. David, 3.39. David, 3.01. David, 3.01. David, 3.26. David, 3.01. David, 3.14. David, 3.43. David, 3.01. David, 3.14. David, 5.68. David, 3.46. David, 3.12. David, 3.01.
Alright, let's see how we did. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit closer. So I think we're gonna do a couple of adjustments and then do it again. Whoa! That's crazy! We're at 3.43 for an average. Wow! That's impressive. What I think we need to adjust our looseness on exit, and that's increasing the stiffness of the left rear, so let's try that. Let's do it until it's kind of visible. Let's try that. They're about even, so let's go up a couple of millimeters. Alright, let's try that. Alright, it's on. I'm going to set it right here so that thing doesn't catch it, because I think right about here it'll catch it. So let me see if we're still recording. We are still recording. Okay, let's start a new race. Let's see if we can't improve it.
New best lap. David, 3.02.
I guess.
David, 3.18. David, 3.85. David, 3.29. David, 3.41. New best lap. David, 3.01. David, 3.09. David, 3.02. David, 3.38. David, 3.21.
It wants to slide.
3.41. David, 3.01. David, 3.01. David,
I think my other camera died on me,
3.52.
so you won't see that right there, but we'll look at it when we're done.
1 minute of racing. First David. David, 3.27. David, 3.38. David, 3.88. David, 3.47. David, 3.08. David, 3.23. David, 3.17. David, 3.13. David, 3.31. David, 3.13. David, 3.29. David, 3.01. David, 3.93. David, 3.08. David, 3.23. David, 3.22. David, 3.01. David.
I think those 3.01s are
Racing. First David.
the minimum lap.
David, 3.32. David, 3.05. David, 3.49. David, 3.01. David, 3.06.
I think after this one we'll stop the video.
David, 3.06.
And we'll try it again.
3.59. David, 3.06.
So this is the last session.
David, 3.02. David, 3.32. David, 3.71. David, 3.42. David, 3.05. David, 3.01. David, 3.02.
Ah,
David, 3.07. David, 3.48. 3 minutes of racing. First David,
2 more minutes left.
4.60. David, 3.07. David, 3.11. David, 3.02. David, 3.50. David, 3.21. David, 3.59. David, 3.29. David, 3.42. David, 3.02. David, 3.03. David,
Ah,
3.01. David, 3.01.
ah.
David,
Yeah.
4.97. David, 7.68. David,
That's gonna mess up my time, but I think this is doing a lot better.
David,
I can control it on the exit.
David, 6.14. David, 4.70. David, 3.41.
It's not
David,
as
3.42.
loose on the exit.
3.35. David, 3.20. David, 3.81. David, 3.01.
Though it looks like it's skipping.
David, 3.38. David, 3.6.
So I'm gonna have to figure that out
David,
by the next episode with this car.
3.23. David, 3.31.
The next thing on this track is going to be the look tracks, and
3.44.
we're going to do the steering rack. Alright, let's see what we did, and I think we're good from there. Let's see how we did. Holy crap! We're at 3.40 for average. That's impressive. 3.40 when we started at 3.58. And then we have a topple at 3.62. And then we had a 3.48. Dang. We're doing a lot better. So what we're doing is working. Let's go to history and practice 1. Oh wait, practice 1, 3.58 here, 3.62, 3.64. Oops. So this was our starting one without doing anything to the car. with the original shocks on it. Then we put the new shocks on it and we lost a few seconds or milliseconds. Then we did a right rear change where we lost a few seconds again. Then we did another right rear change and brought us down to 3.43. And then we did a left rear change, which brought us down to 3.40. And so far, that's our best time. So far, we're looking better. So our changes are working. We may had like a little mess ups those other times. So, well, we'll see you on the next one. I think that's all for today. See you guys.